Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome each and every one of you here tonight. It's a blessing that you all came out to honor Linda and to hear the wonderful poems that she has written on her past adventure. I am stepping up for Samantha. Unfortunately, she is not well, so we do appreciate your prayers for her healing and for Anthony as well. And we just honor the Lord here, and we just thank him for opening up this ministry. Almost 26 years we'll be celebrating in April. And just to give you a little bit of a briefing about the ministry, there was a story about Katie Beers many, many years ago that touched Samantha's heart. And she cried out to the Lord, is there a place for good people? And she heard the Lord say to her, that's heaven. So he began to put the vision upon her heart to open up this ministry, this coffee house. And, she really didn't think it was possible because she didn't make coffee, and that's the main beverage. She had no clue of how to run a little bit of heaven, and she didn't have any money. So, she had been encircled by life speakers, which Linda was one of them, to speak into her life and to encourage her and to say, well, if you can't, God can. And so God did. And that awning is from the original Little Bit of Heaven. And we don't despise small things and small beginnings. So that's a reminder of where the Lord has brought her from. And we are believing for expansion soon. So we thank you for coming. We thank you for coming. And we just lift this night up to the Lord. And we just pray a blessing to be upon each and every one of you and your families. And we thank you for the anointing that Linda has tonight to share his love to you. And I know for myself, I've always wanted to go on a road trip across the country. And maybe this is the start of that road trip, to reveal to me everything that the Lord revealed to Linda through her eyes and through her hand. So I just want you to just be blessed tonight and know that the Lord is always with you and he has your back. And tonight we will be going through 3 rest stops with several poems in between. And then we will have a little bit of a break, and we will continue on for the rest of the road trip. So for Linda, she has been such a blessing to me. A couple of years ago, we started this group here with James co-facilitating. And everyone is welcome to come and to be part of this poetry group that we have from and out of Samantha's.
What's it called?
It's called Poets of the Promise. And we will resume next Wednesday. So you're all welcome to come. And there's a poet in each and every one of us. And, the Lord wants to express himself through us. So you're all welcome. But Linda has been a good friend to me over the past couple of years. She has encouraged me as well in my journey. And I'm so honored that I have been asked to introduce her. So please, without further ado, let's welcome up Linda Dickman.
Those of you who are introverts in the room, God can use you. Don't tell her I said that. Okay, so there's a lot of things I want to say. It's nice to see my whole life here. There's pieces of my whole life here. And it's really nice to see that. The way that I'm hoping this goes is that we end so that the volunteers get to sleep tonight and are not here too late. And I'm going to kind of give you a heads up about things. There are people that like to follow along when some people read at a reading. And so the books are available over here. My delightful husband and my delightful daughter. My other delightful daughter's in Seattle. And so if that is you, then books are signed. Some books are signed already and available over there. And the way this is going to go is I'm going to read the dedication and the dedication poem, which is not my work, but inspired me. And then I'm going to I'll take you to the first rest stop. I'd like to dedicate this to my sister-in-law, Susan Dickman Burt, David's sister. And we went to, their house was the first stop on the trip. And she had this book open on the coffee table. And I picked it up and saw this poem. And I said, "What's this?" And she said, "Oh, that's my favorite poem. It was my grandmother's book, and it's my favorite poem." And this was the impetus and the inspiration for this book. It's a poem by James Whitcomb Riley, and it's called A Song of the Road. A Song of the Road. "Oh, I will walk with you, my lad, whichever way you fare. You'll have me to the side of you, with heart as light as air. No care for where the road you take's a leadin' anywhere. It can be but a joyful jaunt whilst you journey there. The road you take's the path of love, and that's the bridge the two. And I will walk with you, my lad. Oh, I will walk with you. Ho, I will walk with you, my lad, be weather black or blue, or roadsides frost or dew, my lad. Oh, I will walk with you. I, glad, my lad, I'll walk with you, whatever winds may blow, or summer blossoms stay our steps, or blinding drifts of snow. The way that you set face and foot's the way that I will go. And brave I'll be abreast of ye, the saints and angels know. With loyal hand in loyal hand, and one heart made of two, through summer's gold or winter's cold, is I will walk with you. Sure I will walk with you, my lad, a love ordains me to heaven's door, and through, my lad, oh, I will walk with you. Thank you. So our first rest stop, people stop to get all manner of things on a road trip, and some of those things you might bring some reading material. So the first rest stop is going to be at my publisher's place, James Paul Wagner, who is my co-facilitator, as Jamie mentioned, for the Poets of the Promise. And I wanted to invite him up because we've had quite an interesting journey together, and he has done so much to help me to get to know this community and here this community is. I'm just so thankful for all of you. So James, come on down, or come on up.
I gotta use this thing, right? Darn it. I hate using these things. Well, first and foremost, I want to say I've always wanted to have a rest stop named after me. Because I frequently, travel around for poetry things, and I always see rest stops named after people, and I'm like, what does one have to achieve to get a rest stop? Because it's all manner of people. You got Vince Lombardi, so you got sports coach, you got Richard Stockton. That one closed. I guess people forgot that he signed the Declaration of Independence. And Walt Whitman has a rest stop. So if one poet can have a rest stop, I think other poets can have one. So, but want to give congratulations to Linda for this is her third book. In the last 3.5 years, I've done one book. She's done 3, so she's definitely more prolific of a writer than I am. And she does a great job coming up with the syllabus work and facilitating Samantha's A Little Bit of Heaven Poetry Workshop, which I would encourage any of you who could attend to attend. And she does wonderful poetic happenings with the kiddies, the young bards, the apprentice poets, she did something with kids for I think 40 years or something like that, right? What did you do? You did some... Oh, okay, yeah, I know it was something to do with kids, right? But she found the poet in a lot of them, so she's just spreading poetry everywhere. So what am I doing now? 3 minutes? Is that 1 poem, 2 poems? What am I doing? Okay. All right, well, since we're talking about rest stops, I'll read my rest stop poem. The Grateful Path. In every epic, there is a journey, a long journey, over many, many miles, days, weeks, sometimes months or years, making paths through forests or deserts, snow or mountains, trudging through, finding or clearing pathways, always on the lookout for wild animals, unsafe environments, bandits, hostiles and calamities, a perpetual possibility. I think of this on every road trip I take, grateful that through hard work and ingenuity, the troubles on my epic journey have been reduced to worrying about gas, tolls, a healthy snack, and hoping the traffic alleviates in time for me to get to the nearest rest stop. And that one was a little more recent than not, because I actually got back from a trip to Connecticut about 15 minutes before I got here, so was kind of looking for one of those rest stops. Wasn't named after anyone I know, sadly. They actually don't have names in the ones in Connecticut, oddly enough. At least, some of them. They're all corporate looking now. It's weird. I demand they have names. Anyway, I wrote this poem here at the workshop. It's called Resurrection. I wandered the halls of the parish building amongst the faithful members of the congregation. Many souls gathered behind tables, sporting old age treasures to sell, hoping perhaps they might generate a few pennies from heaven for them and their church. Many items taken from attics, used, tattered, worn, and weary, finding new uses among new people. As the candlemaker buys up old glass jars for her craft, a lady buys books third hand, old titles that one would never find in a Barnes & Nobles, and a gentleman buys up old metal artifacts to use in the makings of his next sculpture. The alchemy of these transmutations turning into new resources, as old trinkets now treasured showcase the power of resurrection. I think there's a lot of money to be made for, the clever person to create a poet mic that kind of changes height depending on the person who is there, because we kind of have like this issue sometimes of crouching down depending on that. They don't automatically adjust. Eureka, I found it. There we go. He's patenting. So now every time one adjusts it, we got to give you a quarter, right? Like the birthday song? So we'll come up with a version of it that, is like a bootleg. For my last poem, Ice Cream Cone. Ice cream comes in a cup. Always has, always will. That's what the people thought at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. On the hot day when they moved past the hot waffles to get that nice, cool ice cream, only 5 cents apiece. Flying, until they couldn't fly anymore. They ran out of those cups that the ice cream had always come in and always would. Yet gallons and gallons of the fresh, cool treat remained with many waiting customers. A calamity in the making. Until one brave vendor looked at a waffle as no waffle had been looked at before. He rolled it up into a cone and placed a beautiful scoop of ice cream on top. And with this business merger between ice cream and waffle stand, our world changed forever. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, James. It works. So those of you who know me know that I like sequins, and I like them a lot. And you might notice that there are no sequins on me tonight, and I'm not dressed up as I usually get dressed up for such things, because we're on a road trip. So the most I did was get my favorite boots cleaned and polished and serviced at the local cobbler, and put on comfortable clothes because we're going to be in the car for a while. So I thought maybe I should just be comfortable, which is definitely not the way I usually come here. So I would like to move on to the trip itself. This is called On and On, and it started in E.Northport, New York. The road goes ever on, away from the land where it began. And we are on the road again, just we two, adventure calls. So many miles already come, so many more before the end. The road it beckons to a place, out of the clasp of winter's thrall. We sit in prayer within our coach, praying traditional Tolkien song. Before us, Lord, go thou prepare the way out there and back again. The way out there and back again Tend the paths where we will trod. Let us find no stranger in that place. Through glen and crescent, find a friend. Heading south to family, so many faces not yet seen. The welcome we will bring along will be returned most heartily. The sun restores the harmony, melts away the cold and bleak. We note the winged ones on the way. Their flight we echo merrily. Okay. And this one kind of echoes that one. It's called Flying South in the Winter, the Meadowlands, New Jersey. Crows smudged the beech trees. Sun bathed on the burnished oaks. Geese foraged for golfers' leftovers, dunking their heads, tail feathers facing the sun. Ducks huddled against a fleeting chill. Seagulls clustered like a chenille bedspread. First stop, Molly Pitcher's Travel Plaza. Fish sandwiches, a little cold Diet Coke. I feel warmer already. Thank you. And then the last one for this rest stop is called the Shadowlands. While we were visiting my sister-in-law in Virginia, we went to some of the Civil War battlefields. I don't think there's ever been a place that I've seen that's ever been more blood-drenched in the cause of peace than this land. And so we toured a lot of things, but the leaves are the things that caught my eye. This is called the Shadowlands in Locust Grove, Virginia. We came upon a footbridge out on the battlefield. The fallen leaves were calling, submerged, and voices heard. They stared up at the sunlight, from eyes forever closed, and ground so soaked in bloodshed rose and rose and rose. The mansion burned so brightly that day in wilderness, men dragged themselves far away from flames that were expressed. The ground was strewn with knapsacks, cartridges, and bread. Muskets found too many marks, too many now lay dead. It was as if they'd stared, even now, up through their icy lens, alive once more in homey dreams, happy boys again. As we crossed the footbridge, watching the stream flow o'er, the many leaves, one for each life, implored us, war no more. You know, I wasn't planning on doing this one, but I'm kind of feeling it, so I'm going to do this one. It's called Loretta Lynn's Kitchen. And it's on the cover of the book. As you see, there's a little, on the cover, there's a picture that has a blanket in the background, and it looks like a country singer. It's Loretta Lynn. It was in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. Near 400 miles from Butcher Holler, we had lunch at the Coal Miner's Daughters. That red cabin in the hills gave us an 80s thrill, a lunch stop worthy of every dollar. The waitresses were, "Howdy, and how are ya? I'll be back in a sec to take your order. Would y'all like something to drink? Have it back here in a wink. I can highly recommend the slaw." The walls, they told the story of a songbird who rose above and found a way to be heard. She sang about her folks. They needed money, that they coaxed. They worked to raise 8 children. Love, the watchword. The meal was tasty, honest country fixins. Folks was friendly, lots of talk and mixin'. Though we never saw Miss Lynn, her friendliness within will return next time we cross the Mason-Dixon. Okay. So rest stop part 2. We ventured in and heard this deep-voiced man named Alex. And so I'd like to invite Alex Boudre, who is, Alex Edwards Boudre, let me get it all out there, who is my mentee and the winner of the second prize in the same contest. So we were very excited that we won first and second prize. So Alex, come on up.
Put that patent to good use.
Watch it fall apart. Well, thank you, Linda, and those are wonderful poems. I love that Shadowland poem. It's terrific. So, yes, I also attend the workshop that James and Linda co-lead, and certainly hope to see some new faces. It's really quite a vibrant, very open and inviting as well as stimulating experience, so I hope to see you there. Okay. So I have a few poems here. Linda asked me to find some that I had written that have something to do with traveling. So I'm starting with Family Vacation. Teenagers don't talk at 7 in the morning. The two I saw today just stared eastward across the Atlantic rippled glass, baby blue blending with pale pink spilled from the rising sun. One turned her drooping look at the large luminous rocks with carved shadows. The other's eyes just blinked. They were traveling from an unknown place through an unknown space, just sitting there. Were there parents who were there traveling too? Or were they stuck, wondering amidst this expansive gift why, it seemed, their kids could not care less? This is a short one called Majestic Nomads. In wild waters of the churning soul, deep as all the nights and days eternal, pain and wisdom swirl like aimless plankton, ample fare for those majestic nomads, the mournful bards condemned to roam the seas and cast their cryptic songs from pole to pole. This was written in the workshop that we've been referencing, and the prompt was to write an Italian sonnet. And this is called My Love's Not Lost, My Love. Just a quick word, the theme for the past sort of semester, I guess we would call it, for the workshop was shipwrecks. Burning ships. Burn the ships so that you can't go back. So you're taking this long, dangerous trip. You've committed yourself to this new world. You can't go back. So this is My Love's Not Lost, My Love. My love's not lost, my love, just disappeared. The briny mist eclipsed the sight of thee. Adventure's folly cast me out to sea, by greed blinded to all that thou hadst feared. With frightful winds thy righteous fury reared monstrous swells, the walls of purgatory. When certain seemed my fate by death's decree, among the stars thy countenance appeared. Though masts be snapped, and hulls on reefs be smashed, and Armageddon threaten from above, my heart doth leap, my faith now unabashed. Eternal constellations, guides of love, restore the hope life's savage storms had dashed upon the vain shores that I'd been dreaming of. Thank you. This last one was inspired by a driveway moment. I was listening to a historian, actually, on the radio talking about banjos coming from Africa. And these banjos were kind of requisitioned by the slave traders and put in the hands of the people who could play them, the slaves, the chattel, so that they would be able to inspire the other people who were in shackles to stay alive. And it just struck me. So this is called Fewer Die When Someone Plays. Banjos come from Africa. Throw down your heart, the ship is the cargo's coffin. Throw down your heart. The rocky coast of Senegal is softer than the chattel's fate. The ship is the cargo's coffin. Fewer die when someone plays. Music pumps their blood instead. Fewer die when someone plays. The fettered flesh is searing pain ripped from their hearts. Desires numb. Music pumps their blood instead. Fewer die when someone plays. Banjos come from Africa. Thank you.
Back to our show down here. Okay, so we went to Ghost Ranch, New Mexico, and I don't know if any of you know of Ghost Ranch, but if you know of Georgia O'Keeffe's work, you've heard of Ghost Ranch. And the next several poems have to do with Ghost Ranch, and they're dedicated to Camilla, who was an artist that we met out there. The first one is called Sunset, Earth Vessel. Ghost Ranch, New Mexico, for Camilla. One sat facing the horizon, waiting, quietly like a stone. Do you mind if I sit with you? I heard no reply. The second woman sat. After a few moments, the second moved inside, all the time watching the setting sun, while she caressed a mug gently, as if she were conversing with the very clay. She sat facing out until it was set. Would you like to sit with us? I entreated. Her ochre skin soft, her smile reflecting her recent exposure, framed in a cocoon of black and silver shimmer. She moved to sit with us. The conversation was easy. We spoke of our travels. She nodded and smiled, adding her knowledge, her gentle color, personal pieces. You are in Navajo country, she said. My 107-year-old grandmother left me a string of evenly matched moonstones, and she fingered them on her neck. The contrast with the quilted red velvet, a perfect compliment to her verve. Thank you. Okay. Camilla also makes natural remedies for things, and this is called Remedio. Ghost Ranch, New Mexico, for Camilla. Soft upon the mountains, gentle on arid land, seeking healing elements, woven basket in hand, mindful of creation, pruning carefully, gathering but what is needed, leaving some for the bees. Boiling, blending, steeping, wax and herb and lard, combine in a concoction for those whose work is hard. Cota, torito, and garra, escoba de víbora, gleaned, blended for aching bodies, bathed in boiled water for tea. Hands lovingly chose them, planning for years to come, honoring creation, honoring God's green thumb. Thank you. This is called My Father and the Artist, Ghost Ranch, New Mexico, for Camilla. Georgia O'Keeffe, relentless to grow grapes, my father told her it just couldn't happen. She was persistent. She could not change altitude. She would not change attitude. Loving words about her father from the indulgent voice of this potter, about a woman whose only softness lay in the clouds she painted. Yeah. Okay, I missed one. This is the last one about Ghost Ranch. Abiquiu, New Mexico. We were advised to go by another way, snaking along mountain roads for hours in a chromatic khaki flagged with cattle, goats, dogs, modest homes, wee post offices, arrays of discarded appliances sitting like strays, all the time moving, all the time elevating, all the time wondering, would we ever reach the ranch? A slice of fiery opal blazed, the blue mesmerizing, unsettling, derailing, the beauty like sirens in the desert, distracting eyes from the highway. All at once, the signature animal skull, the narrow trail of dust, leading now, crawling toward our goal. Rancho de los Brujos, Ranch of the Witches, our nostrils filled with the dust of ages. Wranglers, cattle thieves, murderers, and the ghost of a scraggly, persistent tumbleweed of a woman, obsessed with peak and cloud. Thank you. Okay, so what do you do on a road trip? Anybody been on a road trip when they were a kid?
Are we there yet?
That's one. What'd you do in the car? License plate game. Read. I forgot. You did have video games to play. Okay, but there's one thing that you missed, and I would like to sing. Gee, it's like he knew what I was going to say. Oh, wait, he did. So I was thinking, Dory Jo Gutierrez, I had the privilege of teaching when she was a tiny girl wearing my favorite red shoes on the planet. Because every little girl has to have a pair of Dorothy shoes. I don't care who you are. And Dory Jo, I have Dorothy sneakers now. Just saying. Okay, so now Dory Jo is a lovely young woman. And I'm sure that you're going to welcome her when she comes up for rest stop number 3. I'm not going to tell you what she's going to sing, but if you know the words, maybe you can sing along. Dory Jo Gutierrez.
Where's the red shoes?
I forgot them. I meant to pack them.
Next time.
Yeah. If you know the words, you should definitely sing along. You're welcome to, and I want you to. Pull it back to me. Hello. Okay. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. Mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. Mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, I hear her voice in the morning hour. She calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. And driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country roads take me home to the place I belong.
Sorry. That'll be another book, another time. I would like to give everybody an opportunity to what most people stop for a rest stop for, getting something to eat, possibly getting something to drink, but more important than all of that is going to the restroom. So we're going to break for about 7 minutes and 38 seconds, and we'll be back. Thank you very much. And I'm going to start this portion of the return. This is our return back again, with the exception of one poem. And I'm going to invite the only person that I can remember that ever called me elegant. Mary Phillips, come on down. I mean, where are you? It just, she told me that one night, and it's like tattooed on my heart because it was so nice. No.
It's the road trip.
Road trip. Hanging out.
Thank you.
Hey, a road trip can be elegant.
Oh, yes, okay. Hi, I'm Mary, and congratulations, Linda. This is called a poem called Distance, What Distance? And I think it's self-explanatory. Okay. How far across an ocean are we when your words meet mine instantaneously? For the clouds that hang over London today are just as heavy and just as gray as those that cover and conceal the light we both require to heal. What matter the distance when praying to the one who watches over everything under the sun? So speed upon the tube so pretty, while I sit just outside my city in a stalled railroad car in a morning delay, and know that I am truly not far away. Thank you. And the second one, this is my dream is to live in a little blue cabin in the woods. One day, I'll take a trip, like retire, and I just envision this little blue cabin in the woods. So this is sort of about traveling, kind of like a semi-final trip. Oh, little blue cabin in the woods, square of earth to call our own, surrounded by slim, tall trees, we'll make that place our home. The autumn leaves will be our guests, sweet songs from birds our muse, but honking cars, traffic jams, tight schedules will lose. Simplicity will be our goal, the Lord our guiding star. I'll bring my books, my coffee mug, he'll strum his old guitar. For all of us will turn that page, be grateful when we see our own blue cabin in the woods, and in our hands, the key. Thank you. That was my 2.5 minutes. Thank you very much.
I guess it takes one to know one, because Mary is elegant 24/7. Okay, I would like to read another poem. This one is very special, and I didn't quite know where to fit it. So I think I invented a form. I'm not sure. We were in Loretto Chapel in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And we were told that we had to go see this stairwell because it was a miracle. I'm all about that. So I went. And the stairwell was constructed 33 steps for the 33 years of Jesus' life. And it took them 9 days to get an answer to their prayer. So I took that and made it into what I'm calling a Loretto form, because I made 33 lines, and every line has 9 syllables. And it's the story of the Loretto Chapel. Architects from France commissioned there, Antoine Mouly and Projectus' son. after Saint-Chapelle in Gothic style. Required were buttresses, spires, stained glass. Completed, alas, there was no stair. Connecting choir loft and chapel floor. Sisters of Loretto needed help. Interviews occurred to no avail. Gathered a novena they began. On the 9th day, an answer came. A man, a donkey, hand tools, there stood, worked by himself 8 months to install. A helical ascent, 2 turns round, core support accredited to prayer. Carpenter then vanished, left no trace. 2 turns around, no nails, screws, no glue. Entirety of its weight on the base, surely defying the laws of gravity. Steps, 1 for each year of the Savior's life. The nuns now to the loft could ascend to lift voices in praise. Miracle gained. Wood? No local tree could make the claim. Rumors that St. Joseph, patron saint of carpenters, alone the task complete. Rumors it was Francois Jean Rochas, reclusive rancher there in Santa Fe. Intriguing chapel found us online. Tree tucked close against the chapel door. Rosaries hung high as one could reach. Prayers, intentions sent along the way. We knelt, lit candles, prayed, shifted eyes, in wonder at the mysterious stare, stepped away, this poem, then a seed. I really want to tell you this story, and I can't read all the poems. You'll have to read them in the book. But I will tell you the story of the Winslow, Arizona section. We did show up in Winslow, Arizona. So if I say, standing on a corner, what are you going to say? In Winslow, Arizona. You know the song, right? So we go into the hotel, and we ask where we should go eat, and they send us to a local pub called the Relic Road, and we went in. Super Bowl Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday. And we were 2 of maybe 6 what they call Anglos in the place. Everybody else was Navajo. We were invited in. We were invited to sit at everybody's table. The people on the screen were cheering for this team. I mean, this team would make a goal. Everybody cheered. That team made a goal. Everybody cheered. Everybody cheered for everybody. And so we left before the last quarter because we thought, oh, surely somebody's going to win. They're going to kill each other because that's what people do on the East Coast. And and we left, and they were begging us to stay and share nachos. And so it was just incredible. And then we went to the park in the morning, and there, standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, was a flatbed Ford. So, I will read that one. I mean, standing on a corner, Winslow, Arizona. It was the next morning in Winslow, Arizona. We thought we'd go and see. There it was, my lord, a flatbed Ford, parked where everyone could see. A statue was leaning so close to the lamppost, just stiff as he could be, and the flatbed girl, her hair unfurled, stared down for all to see. It was easy. It was breezy. And then the sound of music started. Take it easy. Oh, the wise town fathers of Winslow, Arizona. Okay. I don't know if my uncle is watching. I know where my aunt's watching from, but my uncle is in Arizona, and he is quite a character. And I called this poem Tio Saguaro because when I first met him, he was a lot like a saguaro cactus. In carefree Arizona for Uncle Ted. The epigraph is advice from a cactus, advice from a saguaro. Stand tall, reach for the sky, be patient through the dry spells, conserve your resources, think long term, wait for your time to bloom, stay sharp. And that's advice from a saguaro. At 40, prickly, actions speak louder, approach with caution. At 50, snowbirding to AZ in Saguaro National Forest, approach with curiosity. At 60, revealing humor, still towering 6 feet plus, approach with hugs At 70, arms reaching, trips more frequent, approach with Aunt Joanne. At 80, flowers premature, arms fully extended, desert harbor to oh so many, my Uncle Ted. Okay, and the last one in this set is called Colander Girls. Got any Italians out there? Okay, I kind of thought so. So you know what a colander is used for properly. Okay, so this is called Colander Girls in Carefree, Arizona. Old and aluminum, propped up on a trinity of curls, punched through with heart patterns that will never know your touch again. The strands of number 9 thrown in just to check, then in for 2 minutes, always 2 more minutes. I ladle in a little sauce, a little Parmesan, strain the finally finished pasta, a little more sauce, a little more cheese, served in a pasta dish made in Italy, served on your sea blue Italian plates. The water boils, I see young Grammy Teresa learning to form pasta, flour in a loose, hollow volcano filled with the sun, worked by hand, sliced, dried, out on the back porch. The steam rises from the draining pasta. I see Josephine, who looked on, but was never taught. Aunt Joni soaked it all up, always added something extra, improved it with every step, until finally she was the standard. I added sauce to the dish. Steam rises once more. The aroma, heavenly. Teresa, my daughter, who calls for the linguine and clam sauce recipe, my signature, she wants to serve it in Seattle. Daughter Joanna bears the recipe to her Dave so he can ad-lib in Babylon. All these things as I strain the pasta through the heart-shaped holes. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to stop at rest stop number 5 and invite Lennon Stravato to come up. Lennon is this lovely gentleman, young poet who is really so much older than I am, it's not even funny. I appreciate his poetry. I appreciate his manner with all that he encounters. So I invite up Lennon Stravato.
Did I leave that there?
Another Italian.
What a lovely event for maybe the loveliest person I know. I call her Linda, what can I do for you, Dickman? And she usually knows before I know. She spots it right away what's brewing and immediately has the answer, so thank you, Linda. So I brought 25 poems. I'm just kidding.
Good job.
Can you raise that?
I don't know if I can, but I can lean in. This side here, is this, I'm no engineer. Here we go. I once reached into the ether for sublime words that I could share, but each one did fall beneath her, to whom my best does not compare. She said, you are drenched in varnish, but all my people have no glare. Hear me, for I birthed the prophets, and you, young man, are not their heir. Well, I trembled at this trumpet. It shook me to my soul, but I was not made to crumble, and instead I raised my goal. So I gathered all my kindling, then I trekked up old Mount Sinai, and said, if you be so willing, have this fire as our alibi. She said, earth is temporary, just as those who seek its favor. They that seemed extraordinary were forsaken like your Savior. I said I know these truth-sayers, and though unfit to walk their path, indeed I've come for this affair, as all but you to me is wrath. She said, then join me in this fire, but know that varnish won't survive. There is no room for false attire, if you wish in truth to be alive. I pledged myself to love, not pride, to live and die in just her name. So here, right now, I'll climb inside. I won't resist this perfect flame. You said I'm just like Daniel in that lion's den, but his faith was stronger, so I must be near my end. Well, I was born a stranger, and if now it's even worse, I still don't see the danger, so go call off that hearse. I've faced so many burdens, and none did take me down. You shouldn't look so certain this is my final round. Go bring me your Goliath with his mighty javelin. I've slayed my share of giants. I'll leave him to the wind. But when the day is over and distractions are all gone, I'll have to make accounts for the things I have not done. For there's that greater struggle, that one against our fate, to which so many buckle and refuse to penetrate. As for me, I may be losing, but victory ain't out of sight. So never mind the bruising, I'm still in the fight. Could do one more? Street Preacher Paul? Or pick a number, 1 or 2. Up to you. One? Thank you. Good old Street Preacher Paul always has a smoke to spare. But if he smoked them all, I'm pretty sure he'd share the one he now is toking, as he leans in rather close and says it ain't no joking. There's just one thing that he knows. Heaven is much nearer than this earth that we call home. If you want to see it clearer, shine that heart like polished chrome. Love is a dimension beyond this body made of dust, but all your bad intentions can turn that chrome right into rust. And then you will be blind to this fraternity which lives beyond the mind of egos. Me, 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 me.
Thank you. This is awesome. I'm having so much fun. Okay. Okay, raise your hand if you know who Jed Clampett was. Can anybody tell me what he used to say when something amazed him? That's one of them. Wee doggies. In your life, did you ever think people really said that? So I'd like to dedicate this to Jed Clampett and Marquez, Texas. And it's called Wee Doggies. Oh, not far from the tracks, parched, hungry, in need, we came upon Marquez, Texas, pulled into the shell to relax. Refueled, refreshed, sharp set, up to the counter we roamed. Y'all should try the chicken fried steak. We added some soda with foam. The folks seemed to just come and go, everyone an old friend. This Shell station served as a meeting place. We were treated like kin till the end. Our stop lasted only one meal. We cleaned up our spot and farewelled. We'll never forget you, Marquez, Texas, to visit once more, where compelled. And they all said together, "Wee doggies!" I couldn't tell if she said it just for me, or if she, Okay. So this is another aha moment. Driving through Jacksonville, Texas. It's called Where the Deer and the Antelope Play. And we're driving along, and I said, honey, what are those things? I said, those look like deer. And he said, well, those over are antelope. And I went, no. And what are they doing? He said, well, they're, like they're kind of in the same field. And I said, really, where the deer and the antelope play? Along 79, oh, the weather was fine. The pecan trees, there were not a few. The buffalo roamed, and they were right at home. Oh, that song took on meaning anew. Driving on the range, oh, the deer and the antelope played. Unusual birds, no discouraging words. The clouds, they just billowed all day. Our home's not on the range, but the words to the song came alive. What joy we expressed, said goodbye to the west, and off toward the east we did drive. Okay, one more and then the epilogue, which will make total sense. And after that, I'm going to invite you to, refresh yourselves if you would like. I'll be over here if anybody would like me to personalize a book for them. And other than that, Sam, thank you so much for this. I know you must be watching, or you will be when you wake up. I hope you're feeling better. Anthony, you too. And thank you so much for believing in me. This is called We Missed the Snowstorm. And the skilled driver I'm talking about is right there. Laurel, Maryland. We missed the snowstorm after a wet, disorienting ride, taking refuge in Laurel, a Quality Inn respite. We missed the snowstorm. Baggage slushed through the parking lot, carport, hallway, elevator. Finally, rest. Did we eat? I think so. I remember the kindness and the chicken. There was so much rain, so much rain, so much rain. A thread of ice, a skilled driver. We missed the snowstorm. Okay. So you might have, thank you very much. You might have figured out that we have a Tolkien thing going on. David and I have liked J.R.R. Tolkien separately and together most of our lives. And in fact, David used J.R.R. Tolkien to propose to me. And I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong, so I'll just tell the brief part of the story. He walks into my apartment one night wearing a trench coat. Don't even think it. And he says, he asked me one question. What is the riddle that won? Can anyone answer that question?
What is in me pockets?
What has it got in its pockets? So once I figured out what has it got in its pockets, and David turned, and in one pocket was a bottle of champagne, and in the other pocket was this ring. And so Tolkien is important, very important. And so, you might have gotten the beginning. I know Lennon picked up on the road goes ever on and on. It's a Tolkien thing. So the epilogue echoes both Whitcomb Riley, James Whitcomb Riley, and it also echoes Tolkien. Epilogue, number 1. All the way back, we hugged the shore, starved for a glimpse of Atlantic beaches. Salty air made us heady. Are we there yet? Northward steady. Forget about it, welcomed us across the bridge once more. Paumanok's crowded paths led us to our door. 2. Oh, I would drive with you, my lad, wherever you may go. And I'll drive too, so you may rest in rain or sun or snow. We'll find adventure on the road wherever we might land, knowing who we travel for and just who has made this plan. Up purple-headed mountain, across the fields of grain, where'er we drive, we will arrive from there and back again. Thank you very much.